Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we're going to the very last session for today. And it's our first technical session for NOGOF 2025. It's on presidential executive orders, challenges, and opportunities. Let me begin by welcoming to his seat on the podium the chairman of PETAN, governing council member, and the CEO of Tech Limited, Engineer Wale Ogunsanya, FNSE. A round of applause, please. Joining them is the chairman of Oil Producers Trade Section, Mr. Shane Harris, represented by the executive director of the same body. Let's welcome Mr. Gwueke Ajaifia. You're welcome. President, Oil and Gas Trainers Association of Nigeria, governing council member of NCDMBs. On the panel, let's welcome Mazi Sam Azoka Onyechi. You are welcome.
Okay. Mazi. Yeah, sure.
Managing Director, Coleman Wires and Cables Industries is here. Let's welcome Mr. George Onafowokan. You are welcome. And our moderator for the panel is the Director Capacity Building of NCDMB, Mr. Abayomi Bamidele. You're welcome. The first one, sir. The first one. Yes, sir. There. Yes. Let's welcome to her seat on the panel as well the Chairperson, Petroleum Contractors Trade Section and the MD of Teneris, Nigeria, Mrs. Rosario Osobase. You are welcome.
How you doing?
Thank you so much, Rosario. Okay.
Hello. Is he on? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Apologies that we are really running late. And on that note, I think we'll just go straight. The topic of our session is regarding the presidential directives, and is to talk about the opportunities and the challenges therein. So, to my panelists, the plan is that I will go around everyone, and I think PETAN chairman, I will come to you last, and because I know you were busy earlier when we had some, connection. So perhaps I will start with the lady, and then we'll go through all the men, come back. So there are two elements of the topic of this session. The first one is about the opportunities of regarding the presidential directives. The second one is regarding the challenges that we faced. And as I go around, what I'll be expecting is that you speak to what are the opportunities that you've noticed or seen regarding the presidential directives launched last year. If you recall, they were all launched in March last year, gazetted. And so it's more or less like more than a year old now. Since we've done it, what are those opportunities you've seen? What are those opportunities you've seized? And if there's anything that you think, based on where you, the organization you represent, because you noticed on this panel, we have OCTAN, we have OPTS, we have PCTS, we also have the man has gone, the MAN, Manufacturing Association of Nigeria. I think he has left. And of course, we have our, one of the key industry manufacturing outfits, Mr. George Onafowokan. So basically, to they are not speaking as individuals now, they are speaking as by the organization that they represent. What are those opportunities that they see? So I will start with you, Madam. Thank you, Madam PCTS.
Okay, thank you, Babadi. Good evening, everyone. I think the day is far gone, so let me skip the protocol and just go straight to the question in terms of the opportunities. I think a good starting point would be to understand what these presidential directives are. And about February last year, probably early March of last year, 3 presidential directives were issued by the current administration. One focused on the fiscals, the second focused on local content, and the third focused on contracting cycle. So now I would like to take the opportunities I've seen, from the view of local content and contracting cycle, and hopefully, the operator side can do justice to the fiscals. Personally, what we have seen as a group of companies, and by way of introduction, PCTS are the Petroleum Contractors Trade Section, made up of, the petroleum contractors or major petroleum contractors in the oil and gas industry. So first and foremost, I think the key agenda of the contracting cycle was the concern about the long contracting cycle that we saw or experienced in Nigeria versus global standards. The other thing as well that was major in the contracting cycle presidential directive was the fact that the threshold for contracting was increased from $500,000 to $10 million. So what does this really portend, or what does this mean? And the opportunities that we have personally seen in the last year is that apart from the SLAs that, the regulators and NNPC, including NCDMB, have come together to determine, we are now seeing a bit of shorter, let's say, contracting cycles in the industry. I'll give us an example. There are various deepwater tenders that have been at play for different long lead items in preparation or readiness for deepwater projects. One of the deepwater projects have been discussed in this room today, such as the Bonga. We saw that, I think for instance, from the lens that I sit, we made that offering sometime in July. I can tell you that as at today, we have the award, all the vendors in the category for pipes and OCTG already are awarded. So this is a classic example of what the, let's say, contracting cycle SLA is doing in terms of, improving the contracting cycle. The second thing that I've also seen, speaking to a lot of the operators, is the fact that I believe that they are now going ahead with the implementation of the threshold of $10 million, which means that, for contracts below $10 million, there's no need for regulatory conformity in the sense of trying to get regulatory concurrence, to proceed with the project. So now the operators are empowered, enabled to be able to drive projects contracts above $10 million, below $10 million in threshold as a way of shortening the bureaucracy that exists. And what's the benefit for Nigeria as a country? For me, the main benefit that we see from PCTS is that it increases the competitiveness. And the momentum that you see in the industry today, with the deepwater projects resuming, Bonga is one of them, leading the charge for SNEPCO, is the fact that those presidential directives have given some level of incentive that see some of the deepwater projects marginally profitable. I'm not saying this is a one-size-fits-all, so I think it's going to be a case-by-case basis, and all the projects will have to determine their fiscals and at play with the regulators to see if it is economically viable. I think in terms of local content, I would say that what we have seen as well with local content is the fact that there is a bit more streamlining. I see the NCDMB championed the course on the trying to, with the implementation of local content, where we see NCDMB now trying to reduce the touch points, the contracting touch points from 9 touch points for NCDMB to 5 touch points. One of the touch points is the double envelope tenders, correct? If I understand this, this means that you don't need to float a technical ITT and float a commercial ITT thereafter, because you can save time by bundling your commercial ITT and the technical ITT into one and floating it together as a way of shortening the contracting cycle. So we are seeing a lot of that at play, in tenders. Not all of them are complying right now, but we expect that in the future, NCDMB will continue to strengthen these aspects. The next thing we're also seeing is that obviously from the regulatory perspective, NCDMB continues to do the good job of trying to make sure that only verified and authentic capacities that exist in country are playing in all these opportunities that are at discussion. So if you're a portfolio middleman, NCDMB is not the only one out for you. Me, I'm out for you as well, because if I see any place where you're not complying, I'm going to call the attention of the bodies to make sure that they are doing the right thing with compliance. And so I believe that NCDMB can shed more light into some of the initiatives they are taking on the pathway to the local content presidential directive in implementing and reducing the complexities that results from having middlemen in the chain that are not bringing any form of value to the value chain. I will leave it at this in terms of the opportunities, and I'll come back later to talk about the challenges and what I think are the next steps. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether there's any need to even go around the other panelists, considering the full list that she really, I think she really tried, talking around all the various points around the threshold, around the timelines, around the SLA. I think that was very good. Thank you, Madam, for bringing it up. And today I'm a moderator, so I'm not going to say anything about what we've done. We've done a lot of discussion with the industry, and I believe they are aware. So let me go. And by the way, we have the sixth panelist now joining us, representing the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Engineer Michael Agana, representing the president. Please, thank you for clapping for him. So let me go next to OPTS. So you have the floor, please. If you can make it 2 minutes, because they need to rearrange this hall for the awards night. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'll try to stay within time. There's no doubt that the presidential directives have brought huge benefits to the upstream. Before now, for over 13 years after the Egina project, there was no other major oil and gas project in Nigeria. Why? Because of the cost of doing business, our projects were no longer profitable. And so investment was bypassing Nigeria, going to Angola, going to other countries. So I want to focus on the presidential directives on oil and gas fiscal incentive. Now, this incentive gave up to 25% kind of tax incentive on certain costs in the industry. And what that means is that the operator is able to have a project that is profitable. So for many years, we had a lot of deep water project, NAC project, which is just standing at the borderline, waiting. For more than 10 years, Nigeria lost a lot of opportunity. And that was why we saw how the oil production of Nigeria went from about 2 million barrels per day to around 1.3 before this new administration came in. Now, since the incentives were announced, we have seen a lot of progress. For example, we had the Ubeta project of Total Energy take FID. This is a gas project, a NAC project of about $650 million. And thereafter, you had the SPDC Iseni project. And then the last one is the Bonga North project of over $5 billion. In fact, the international press announced that Nigeria received 3 out of 4 projects in Africa. We became the most attractive destination for investment just by these presidential directives. So let me stop there in order to respect Baba.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, the DG of OPTS. Is it true, though, that the fiscals, there is a timeline that if you don't, get the gas in, you will not benefit from the fiscals incentives?
Yes. The truth is that these incentives are not just close-ended. The government also put certain conditions, so that you don't just get this incentive and not use them. So if you are going to benefit from the incentive, then it means that you have to demonstrate that you want to do the project and then go ahead and do it. Because if your project is delayed, then you may not get it. So it's a way of pushing you to fast-track your project. But on the other hand, it creates some challenges. Okay. Because, project takes time.
No challenges yet.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that so that we can give opportunity to Mazi. It's your turn, sir. Please.
Thank you.
Opportunities, and what are you doing about it in Octan?
Yeah, thank you very much. Octan is basically the center point for human capacity development in the country, in the Nigeria's oil and gas sector. And the opportunities we see, everything revolving around the entire executive orders is directed at increasing oil production. You just, my colleague just mentioned it fell as low as 1.3 million. And then we are looking at, this government is looking at about 2 million, 2.5. So what we see there is just all that we've been discussing around today has been, so where are the human beings? Where are the people that will take over? All the people we see today, I was just telling my friend that it seems that Shell has just taken over the entire industry. Apologies to others who did not invest in SITP programs that made all the change possible. You look at NNPCL, it's Shell. Look at the new Renaissance, it's Shell. I know that Total also did a lot in that regard. So we are saying, who are the people? Where are they? Those that are coming behind. In the next 10 years, most of these people are 60, 50, 60 and above. So what happens? Where are the people we are grooming to take over? In the next 10, 15 years, where are those who are going to go to Hague? Now there's no Hague to go to, so where are they going to? They should come to Octan. That's what we are saying, that those things you are looking for in Sokoto, they are right there in your Sokoto, So all the industry needs to do is talk with Octan. You are increasing oil production. Technology is increasing. You are importing a lot of equipment and all that. Who will run these facilities? Where are they? So Octan sees in this opportunities for increased capacity gaps that needs to be filled by Octan. We see in it the opportunity to domesticate and domicile skills as mandated by NCDMB so that training and certifications can be done within Nigeria, not when you train in Nigeria, you go to US or UK to get your certificates. By the time you check that out, you find that that's why a lot of Nigerians who desire training in skills that needs to get them into the oil and gas industry, that they don't have the opportunity, because who can afford $300, $500 to get a certificate that will expire in 3 years? Because the difference between what you see as academic qualifications and industry certifications are totally different things. You get the industry, you are, as an engineer graduate from any Nigerian university, you are an engineer for life, especially after you've registered with Korean. But I'm assuring you that as an international welding engineer, after 3 years, if you are not practicing, that certificate is null and void. So this is what we need to understand, that there's a big difference between these two stuff. This is skills that are geared towards a particular sectoral experience and competence. So if you don't have it, you don't have it. So Nigerians are all available, ready and waiting to go and get the industry certification they require, but they cannot afford it. So what Octan is seeing is another opportunity to go deeper into the advocacy for the industry to partner with us. We have 400 members plus, and we have people that are competent to train people across the industry value chain. All we need is the right support, the right collaboration, and Octan is not sleeping. We've gone way ahead to ensure that the certifications you get within the Octan system, even when it is domiciled here, is at par with the best in the industry. It's benchmarked against ISO 17024, which is the guiding ISO standard that is utilized for certifications outside of formal education. So what we are saying is, it's a great opportunity for this industry to partner with us, encourage us, sponsor us. Grants have been given to us. I want to use this opportunity to thank NCDMB for the grant we got for the octane certification, which we have just gotten ISO 9001-2015. Octane is fully certified. We are pursuing the next stage, which is the accreditation to ISO 17024. Somebody has also given us a grant, and Pana Holdings, Dr. Derek Kobo gave $30,000 to Octane for that accreditation. A lot of us here can do it. The industry here can do it. Where is Total? Where is Shell? Your SITP is no longer there because you've gone offshore. I don't know if Renaissance wants to do that. But what we are saying is we are here to work with you.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I feel you. I feel you. Especially considering my new role now in capacity building to see, how we indeed make this to happen. Can you guess the average age of the panelists here? Because he was mentioning around the need. Yeah. So, indeed, if you are talking about opportunities coming through, where are the next set? And I'm hoping maybe I'll discuss with Madam Fumi. Perhaps there's a need for a youth panel so that we sit down and listen to them. Yeah. Perhaps let them debate, what are those things that, we need to sort of, look at the next time. Because they call it crew change, right? Where like, this is like the 5th NOGOF. By the time you do the 10th NOGOF, I wonder where some of us will be. So there's indeed need to focus on that. Thank you for that. I feel your passion seriously. Let me start with you, and then you go to the.
All right.
Then we'll come to the chairman, please. Thank you.
Well, very recently, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria had an advocacy with federal government concerning locally manufactured goods within the country. And recently, President Bola Tinubu newly unveiled the Nigerian First Industrialization Directive, which signals an ambitious intent to recalibrate Nigeria's economic directives. That's a good direction to go. That initiative seeks to reduce the country's overdependence on imports by making sure that most of these goods are made within country. The initiative aims at spurring domestic production, job creation, and national pride, being proud of what we already have and that we can make within the country. But beneath the populist appeal lies a deeper problem. Nigeria continues to govern by declarations without a design. What I mean is that the president has given his words, Nigeria first. What next? How are we going to go forward with Nigeria first? What's the plan? How are we going to do this? All that is missing in the design. So the Nigerian first policy should align with an agreement with the stakeholders, understanding the fact that there must be a framework to achieve these results. So these decrees that we talk about, executive orders, may not necessarily take us to where we want to go without a plan. So basically, we're saying that despite these orders, we expect that there must be stakeholders sitting together and saying, how do we achieve this? Okay? Yes, Nigeria first. Let's buy made in Nigeria goods. If the stakeholders do not get involved in this advocacy, then it becomes very difficult. I go to Shell, and Shell says, well, we think that there's something better outside the country than what is produced here. So there must be a deliberate action by all involved, a deliberate policy, a deliberate white paper to look at these issues and say, where are we going to go and how are we going to achieve this? So I think the declarations are okay, but we must do better than that. And that lies on everybody on this panel, the entire House, to sit down and say, where do we go? You know, for us in man, innocent cars are being made in Nigeria. Do we start by saying, okay, let there be a white paper that stops government from buying any of these vehicles from outside the country? Can we concentrate that everything we buy on cars are done in country? Is there a white paper on that? No. Is there anybody controlling that? No. Are there groups of people sitting to look at these issues? No. So I think that looking at the presidential directives, it sounds good on paper, but on practicality, it's not being, I don't think we're getting there yet.
Okay. Do you see any opportunity regarding the control points using the BPP, Bureau for Public Procurement? Because in that release, I recall they said that, look, you cannot procure anything unless you get, the approval of BPP to make sure that when it comes to public procurement, they are the one to sort of make this pronouncement happen. Then when it comes to oil and gas side, we have a role to play in NCDMB as regulator. So those are some of the, control levers that are being used for public or oil and gas. Is there opportunity for you to key in that space?
I wish that government would actually set up a policy and get the right framework to check this out. Because it's one thing to say, go to the BPP, okay? And it's another thing for the people, the operators themselves, to neglect the BPP. If you neglect the BPP, who's going to check that out? How does man?
So we need another BPP on BPP.
No, yeah, we need a group of we need a white paper policy,
okay,
that is written on this thing, telling us how.
All right. Okay.
Basically, that's what we're saying.
Got you. Thank you. Thank you. Please, let's go to Engineer George. Your turn.
Okay. From my own perspective, taking it from the same manufacturers, there are two things here. First of all, we're talking about the executive order of last year that is focused on local content with regards to oil and gas. Then the second one is a recent one, which is Nigerian First, although that's out of a bit of our scope here. So I have to go back to where the scope is first. Now, from my own perspective, I look at it, the opportunities are there. We cannot say there are no opportunities because you have to take it from the perspective, from a manufacturer's point of view. What I'll focus on will be the NCPs, the Nigerian Content Plan. Now, if you look at it over the years, the Nigerian Content Plan, let's be sincere, if we all have to be sincere to ourselves, it's been abused. Now, and it's been abused in the sense that if you look at some people or some companies, they've been on the content plan for 10 years. You question, if I'm a manufacturer, by now, after 10 years, you have not shown me and you're still showing me land that you plan to do it. Now, query the content plan. Now, what has happened over the years is good intent, good encouragement, bad
implementation.
It wasn't implementation. Implementation is you seeing it happen. It's a bad thought process. Okay. So I won't call it implementation because literally, let's call it fraud or deceit if we have to be blunt about it. Now, because someone tells NCDMB, I'm going to do something, and they end up not doing it. So if they don't do it, someone like ourselves, the manufacturers, that have actually put investment in, any manufacturer here that's put investment in will feel very slighted because their money is on the ground employing people while someone is telling us what they will project to do and they're not doing it. And they still, by the rule books, have priority. So, and invariably, it's ending up increasing the cost of every project, let's be sincere, because add-on is an add-on. Whether you +1, +10, +50, whatever plus, is a plus. The project becomes too costly. Nigeria was losing out. Now, what this does is that it changes the focus of NCP to, if you don't show me a plan that says, tomorrow you are literally digging the soil and putting that factory in place, I ain't going to give it to you. And that is what the government actually forced their hand. And look at it, immediately that forced their hand. Look at how many FIDs has happened in less than a year. Now, I'm a manufacturer. I'm not losing out. So that executive order made no difference to me. Made no difference to any cable manufacturer that is actually making it, that is supported by NCDMB. And we've got the gains of it. Now, the only difference now, what I see now is that there's a bit more focus. And that's where the opportunities are. The manufacturers are actually now getting focused on because there's no escape clause. So if you've taken out all the portfolio investors, it leaves us a small number of people that actually are the manufacturer investors, which means even NCDMB will not joke about the figures anymore because they need those manufacturers to show the content and to actually show performance so that they can keep the books looking good for local content at 52%. You don't really want it dropping. I don't want local content at 52% dropping. So kudos to NCDMB, but we need that 52 to go 53, 54. So this forces NCPs to turn to NCP reality. And all those that have lost out would overnight, and I'm very sure NCDMB must be seeing some light at the end of the tunnel now, with new manufacturers coming in play all overnight, because now they're losing out to the guarantees, support that NCDMB or the law actually provides. So it's a good thing, it's an opportunity for all of us that have invested to put more. For me, we're still investing and increasing investment. For those that are outside the picture, it is an opportunity for us to also review and encourage. The thing about it is, local content is not about Nigerialization. It's still that statement. It is about Nigerializing the local content of opportunity, of manufacturing, of providing solutions, of providing job and sustainability of this country. So if we don't focus on that, we're just going to have a lot of nice-looking portfolio guys sitting in an high-rise, taking up a lot of jobs that we deserve to keep in this country and actually do better. So the opportunities are there for the manufacturers. The opportunities to grow the manufacturers are there now. And look, the funding is always in place. So NCF, BOI, I don't think we're talking about, we need to even bother about that now. It's now that we have a drive to push this manufacturing sector. And I love to see more manufacturers in here because I'm always of this opinion that we have more portfolio investors in every delegate forum than the number of manufacturers sitting in the forum.
True.
And the day we change this thing to 50-50 is the day we actually know that we spent 10 years, 15 years doing local content and we can now applaud ourselves. That at least, I'll yield the floor to others.
Quite a lot to unpack there. But because of time, I'll just try to, I take the key points around the need to, but there is difference between NCP and NCEC. I think the issue from what I gather from is the NCEC to say, how do you make sure that the NCEC you are given to the service providers are, are not given to, in the presidential directives, they are called intermediaries. And I was so happy because we are used to calling them middlemen, as if there are no middle women. So they call them intermediaries. So that's noted. We'll try and work on that, the NCEC, to make sure indeed, if you flash NCEC of NCDMB, then it is indeed showing that you have certain capability, and not that you just bought it on, online. Chairman PETAN, your turn, so that we can wrap up. Opportunities. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. I think the technical session is presidential orders, challenges, and opportunities. It's like, do you want to hear the good news first or the bad news?
We are still on the good news.
Yes, exactly. So you have chosen the good news, which is good. The good thing is there is a lot of good news in the three gazettes by the president. And I think Gwueke mentioned it, Rosario also listed it. The first one is physical incentives. Essentially, the incentives for the E&P companies to produce more oil and gas in Nigeria, which is good. When people are investing their money, if you can give them the opportunity, show them how they can have better returns in their investment, definitely you will encourage them. I will even take it a little bit higher. I had this conversation with the advisor on energy that what we're doing in Nigeria today, where the refineries are eventually coming up, new ones being built, NNPC trying to reactivate, And you have, the giant of it, Dangote Refinery. That apart from incentives, I'm going to give mandates. And the examples I usually give Gwueke, that the MD of Total in Nigeria goes to Paris to get his budget. If the oil price comes down, whatever incentives you have given him in Nigeria, if the headquarters says you need 5 billion, sorry, we can only give you 3 billion for Nigeria, for 2028, for instance. He has no choice. He will only spend 3 billion in Nigeria. And our refineries will not have enough production. We might not even have enough production for the OPEC quotas. So I will raise that directive even to a higher level and tell Total, let's sign today. I'm giving you these incentives. Your production is 500,000 barrels per day. When the price of oil goes down, I'll give you a little bit of room. You can go down by 10, 15%. But I need 450,000 barrels from you at any time so that we can service our refineries and we can also ensure that we meet our OPEC quotas. So the first one is very good, I would say that. Quickly on the local content side of it, great. We're trying to reduce the impact of the portfolio companies. I think everybody has said that. As George said, when you set up a factory, you have equipment, you invested in all kinds of equipment, you have, and somebody goes to get that job and come to hire your equipment. So you are causing a lot of devaluation in the capacity building. So eliminating the portfolio company, we must continue to do that. We thank NCDMB for that. This is very important. You are the watchkeeper for us in the industry. We don't want the work awarded to companies that have not built capacity and they have not invested. And lastly, on this, the contracting cycle, very good part of it is we're supposed to be issuing 5 years contracts, and that can be extended by 2 years. So when those of us providing services are planning our investments, we can have assurance that we have almost 7 years that you can plan and say, I'm investing $10 million in capacity building in Nigeria. I have a work that will give me at least 5 years work and probably another 2 years on top of that. So that way, we can continue to build this local capacity. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, PETAN Chair. I really appreciate that. Now, this is the format we are going to use because of time. I'm going to start with man. And you just give us maximum of 3 challenges. And if there's anything you are doing, because it's very easy to point fingers, whether it's government or BPP or NCDMB, what is man doing to address those challenges? So hold on, sir. So once you are done, I'm not going to interject. Just go, George, you take it from there till we get to Mazi. You have the floor.
Yeah, thanks. Nigerian manufacturing sector has long been constrained by structural issues like erratic electricity supply. We know that poor transport infrastructure, insecurity. Now, for the man who is manufacturing in Lagos or in Benin and wants to move his goods all the way to Port Harcourt, okay, it's obviously going to be a lot of problem taking it down, okay? These are problems. And these are not challenges that can be resolved through executive orders. You don't just pass executive orders and we expect that will solve these problems.
Okay, what's man doing?
Well, man has engaged and will continue to engage government.
Okay, engagement. Thank you, sir. I've just been told that I need to make it snappy. Apologies if I'm interjecting. No. 1 minute here. MC just told me now. Thank you.
I think I'll just continue from where he said. Anyway, the biggest challenge would always be, if we take off all those things, is, for me, from the perspective of Nigeria, is for us to first believe that it is worth investing in this country. That's all. We need to just believe. And we need to stop having fear. This country is worth it. It's worth every dime of blood that we're all born in it with. And we need to just start believing that, irrespective of the challenges that are there, the opportunities outweigh the challenges, because every foreigner is not running away from Nigeria. They're coming in droves to invest as manufacturers. I'm a chairman of Ogun State MAN. and Ogun State has the largest numbers of manufacturers in that country, in this country. I sign between 7 to 8 every time. 7 out of 8 I'm signing are foreigners opening up factories. And for you to be a MAN member, you can't be a portfolio member. You must have been in production, you must have produced, you must be employing before we can even admit you.
Excellent.
So if 7 out of 10 is a foreigner, you should ask yourself, why are we all talking about this thing?
Excellent.
The opportunities in this country.
All right. Thank you, MD. Madam.
Okay, 3. The first one is still going to be implementation for me. It's clear that the presidential directives are impactful to the extent that we've seen momentum. There are various aspects of the presidential directives that, I would believe that should not be treated, the implementation should not be treated in silos. So again, at PCTS, we have strong advocacy to strengthen those directives in the way that there are strict guidelines, in the way that each of these presidential directives should be operated. So implementation is the first thing. PCTS contribution there is to ensure strong advocacy to make sure that the implementation pathway is clear to the entire industry. The second point is on local content, on the presidential directive on local content, and the main point here being the capacity audits, because again, NCDMB cannot be everywhere, but the capacity audits, it's important that it's a joint industry assessment rather than a one regulatory body assessment, so that when we agree that this is an authentic capacity, everybody agrees, right? We have a case now where there's a tender at play. We know that there are only 1 or 2 trading facilities in all of Nigeria as a current, but there are 7 people at play. There are 7 vendors at play. And we know that they're not going to trade a ton of that pipe in country. So it's important that, these assessments are done to drive home the point. And finally, I would say the third point in terms of challenge is how the operators, the project promoters, view compliance. They look at compliance from the lens of NCDMB. NCDMB is empowered to do compliance monitoring. But no, you have the project. So when you are awarding a project, it is your responsibility as operators to make sure that everyone who you have awarded is complying with the requirements of the Act. And NCDMB does not have a purview on what you are doing at that point in time. So it's important that we work together and ensure that the laws are enabled or the guidelines are enabled for the project promoters to be empowered to carry out the activity of enforcement and compliance monitoring as well. 3 points. Thank you.
Thank you. I noticed you just had to sneak in trading somewhere there. I mean...
I sell my markets now.
Thank you. OPTS, please.
Yes, thank you very much. So there's no doubt that the presidential directives have opened up the space. Most of Nigeria's big production will come from deep water. Unfortunately, the current directives and incentives may not be sufficient to unlock the remaining projects. So after these few projects, we might just be waiting for another long time. So that's where the challenge lies. We need additional incentives. We know that the government has tried, but some of these projects will not go anywhere. I have heard people say that oil is going to be here for the next 100 years. That's true. But let us not forget that the Stone Age did not end because of lack of stones. So we need to develop our resources and use it to prepare for the next phase. Ensure that we have infrastructures, we are able to develop the power sector so that internal production can be enhanced. So essentially, I'm talking about additional incentives. Now, the second point is what was mentioned by George. We believe that there's still some premium on NC, and that this is also impacting on some of the projects that are still behind the line. In terms of what OPTS is doing, we are working with the authorities, we are working with the special advisor to the president on energy, who has helped us with this incentive to see if we can get a little bit more so that this project can cross the line. On top of that, we are also trying to engage NCDMB. We'll be coming to see you very soon because we have some ideas of how we can sort of create better efficiency within the Nigerian content strategy. And I think that if we can address these two issues, more of this project will come up. Because the current administration has an objective of 2.35 million barrels per day by 2027 and an investment portfolio of $30 billion by 2030. But we are not going to get there if we don't open up the space and allow this project to flow. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Your turn, sir, Chairman.
Yeah, thank you very much. Two issues we are saying at PETAN, and I think the first one is the most critical for us. The presidential waiver that is being given on EPCI, we have major issue with it, and the reason is simple. We have in-country capacity that has been built. When we were doing the exhibition round, one of our members, Doman Long, they are there. They talked about all the projects they have done, Egina and all of that, and they told us that the capacity of their yard now is only 5% because the presidential waiver is being given from a narrow perspective. Let me explain what I'm saying. So you want a EPCI project of $100 million, dollars, and SIPEM come and say, okay, don't worry, I'll do it at $90 million. They take $90 million out of this country and go and fabricate that in China. That's true. Doman Long that will do it at $100 million, we have additional GDP of another $30 million to his $100 million. So in-country GDP is $130 million. And we lose all of that on this presidential waiver. So it's something that we in PETAN we are going to take very serious, that for the government to look at the big picture. The window they're looking at is very narrow. If our in-country capacity needs to be encouraged, if we need to support them in whatever way that we want to do it, is a lot better than shutting down people that have put in capacity for 20, 30 years. So that's a major issue for us, and we need NCDMB on that. The value of a project and the timing should not be based on the number alone. You have to look at what is built in this country and what are the GDP contribution that will happen in country before you take it out. Finally, my side, the $10 million, that is given, that I think it's for deep water. Gwueke, I think you talked about that. The highest number that E&P companies are allowed to spend, at least in Africa, is in Angola, is about $5 million. I think the government should look at that. The $10 million from our side, we think is too high. It might differentiate some of the local players. If I can, there are many companies in Nigeria, if you make $5 million revenue a year, you are not doing too badly. So when you give 10 million waiver to be spent, and when we compare it to around the world without the regulators, NCDMB, NOIMS, I think that number is too high and we should watch it. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
So indeed, your waiver, OPTS, watch it. When you say you need additional waiver, the ones you have already is creating ripples.
In fact, what I'm actually talking about is not really waivers, you see, because we believe that we should have a structural approach. Because when you are giving waivers to different people as they come, you create distortion. So we are looking at building into the structure so that I don't have to come for waiver. You understand?
Okay.
The system is able to accommodate me.
Yeah.
Today, people are going one-on-one to get these waivers.
Okay.
And I think what Wale said is very important, because when you create this environment, you put everything in the hands of one person, and he doesn't see the bigger picture, because it becomes subjective.
Okay.
Yes.
I think we need to talk more.
Yeah.
We need to talk more. Thanks. Mazi.
All right. Thank you. Well, for us in Octan, the major challenge we see to harnessing the opportunity for increase in human capital development presented by increase in production and other incentives given to for the oil and gas industry is bias. That's basically what we, most of us will not buy made in Aba shoes unless it is labeled made in Italy. And so, but meanwhile, these shoes are of the same quality or better quality than that of the Italians. But because we are biased against our own country, we don't seem to accept that anything good can come out of Nazareth. So it's important that we have a mindset shift. Exactly. It's important that we begin to see that Octan and institutions like ours are not joking. We are restructuring. We are doing things that will meet international best practices. And we are assuring the industry that whatever is going to come out of our certification programs is going to be benchmarked against international standards. There is no shortcut. We have a lot of quality infrastructure in place. We have a lot of quality checks. We have developed systems that will help to make sure that not only the industry is satisfied, but even our regulators are involved. Currently, Octan is the approved national occupational standards, approved body for oil and gas skills in Nigeria by the National Board for Technical Education. It did not come out of limbo. It was a synergy decision between NCDMB and MBTE that we need to develop national occupational standards. Yeah. And the industry is deeply involved in it. This is the first step towards ensuring that these bias, that things that are made in Nigeria are not good enough, or that these certifications are going to come out of Octan, that they will not be acceptable. So we want to assure you that we are putting a lot of quality checks in place. There have been internationally benchmarked programs of quality assurance. There will be quality assurance assessors that are duly trained. Excellent. And there will be traceability of these certifications and how they are gotten. Excellent. The templates are benchmarked against known standards for well-structured for delivery of competence-based trainings.
Please, let's clap for Octan. Let's clap for him, please. Tomorrow there's a full session, I think, on HCD, so you can deepen that discussion. On that basis, I think we don't have any room for MC. Thank you very much, panelists. Thank you.